Inside this bag, I have my go-to ultimate shtf rifle. And guess what? It's not an HK, it's not an AR-15, and it is by far, in my opinion, one of the best rifles that you can have. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of FluTac, Armed Citizen Firearm Training Solutions, which starts right now. Alright guys, welcome back, and thank you once again for joining me, your host, Instructor Flu, also known as a Faceless Gunslinger, for another exciting episode of FluTac. At the time of making this video, I have over 700 subscribers. Once again, this is a very small YouTube channel for you out there, my fellow armed citizens, Second Amendment community, but it means a lot to me. I could not do this without you. I want to say thank you everyone for your support once again. If you do want to help support the channel in a more financial way, here's my Patreon for you to go take a look at. With that being said, this is a channel once again for beginners, where we as guys and gals who are into firearms, that care about the Second Amendment, and it's not here about violence. It's talking about the technology of the rifles, weapons that have influence our history and so many different things altogether. And this is why I created this channel, for complete beginners and just people that could come here and help get more education about firearms, so you can make sure that you can enjoy it and do the best that you can out there, just going out there shooting your targets, whether that target be some fruit, some soda or something like that. Well, with that being said though, without further ado, I want to show you my go-to survival shtf rifle that is not an AK or AR-15, and it is. Before I show it though, I want you to go down in the comments below and let me know what you think it is right now. And this ultimate rifle for me, my go-to weapon, if I had to go to a hostile planet where there was aliens I had no idea was there, this is the rifle I would choose, and that rifle is the Bushmaster M17 rifle. So in FluTac, we believe seriously on firearm safety. So before I dive into this review, let's go ahead and make sure that the weapon is clear. As you guys can probably see the breech there, it is clear. So a lot of you out there, especially who play Call of Duty, is like, I have never seen this weapon before, and I completely understand that. This is a very unique weapon in itself. It's actually been discontinued, and I'll talk about it a little bit. So this weapon was entered, I believe, from my understanding, in the Australian Army trials looking for a new weapon, I think roughly around the 70s and 80s. It came over here in the United States, from my understanding, from a Australian company called Eden Pine, and this was before America went and had the assault rifle ban. I think they sold it for a couple years, and then Bushmaster picked up this particular weapon system and they took over ownership of it, and it was sold as the Bushmaster M17. It went and it became, wasn't really a bestseller, but it did have a very long, well, it didn't have a long life either afterwards, and it was discontinued, I believe, in the mid-2000s. From obscurity, for a couple of reasons, I believe. For me, which I think just because really the popularity of the AR-15 rifle platform, and still to this day, which I'll never understand, especially anybody like me who watched Starship Troopers, which is a great movie that is severely underrated. If you haven't seen Starship Troopers, watch my video first and then go and watch Starship Troopers on, I believe it was on Netflix right now, I'm not too sure. But anyway, go watch Starship Troopers, great movie. And when it comes down to it, this is just really an amazing weapon system for so many different reasons when you chose that. So let's talk about it a little bit quick. I'll break it down and also tell you why I believe that this is by far the ultimate CHTF and survival rifle. All right, guys, let's go ahead and break down this amazing rifle platform. So a couple things just about it. The upper receiver here is actually made out of aluminum. It's very similar to the AR-15, M16 style rifles, where it comes down to aluminum. The lower receiver is actually made out of a very, very strong type of plastic or polymer. This stuff is strong. It's very, very strong. I mean, they've done a good job. I don't know how they really put this together, but they did a good job with the old receiver. As you can see here, this is a modification. I'll talk about a little modifications myself that I did later on as we continue to work through this and talk about why this is just an amazing rifle platform for shtf and survival. But as you can see here, when it comes down to it, I did paint the upper receiver myself with some spray paint or protective coating. I forgot what it's called, but I think it was from Brunel's. I drilled the holes in myself, and the other work with a whole bunch of stuff that was done from K&M, which I'll go to later. So once again, make sure that weapon's already been cleared. As you guys have seen, it is pointing safe direction. There's nobody else here right now inside of my home, and I made sure the weapon is clear. So it has 3 pins, this particular version. Now there was an earlier version of M17 that was a little bit different. It didn't have this extended magazine well. I think was one of the differences from there, and I think something with the pins. I don't know off the top of my head, unfortunately. So, but you can ask the picture saint of YouTube, Firearm Contact, Ian McCauley, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you out there. So there are 3 pins here altogether that are located on the right side of the rifle. The last 2 in the back are captive pins, and the front one is not. And I will also talk about a modification I made here as well. So from here, I've had this rifle now for, gosh, I think, yeah, over 10 years. And I will tell you that it's always a little bit difficult to get this out. So the 2 captive pins at the bottom. So I usually like to use a screwdriver to help push it out. That's one. Always a problem here. Don't worry, it likes it rough. There we go. I hope my wife doesn't see that about the table, by the way. So let's go ahead. So we got the captive pins out here. You can see now they're now protruding, and I'm going to open this. Now, the rifle itself uses a AR-15, I'm sorry, an AR-18 or AR-180 type of short stroke piston-driven system, which is absolutely cool. And this is another reason why I think this is the ultimate rifle for that. What it does, and I'll bring it out here. I modified mine. I'll tell you this, but you have, if you have the standard AR or the M17, there's 2 clips here that goes on here that actually holds in these springs, as you can see here. These are the springs that pushes the bolt back into its face, and these are just the spring rods or guides. And this is just the plate here that holds the spring rods in place. The bolt itself is very, very similar to the AR-15. I'm sorry, to the AR-18, as you guys can see here. So anybody very familiar with the AR-15 platform, you could tell that bolt is 100% completely different. Now, if you're like me, you're probably having a question, well, is that the same bolt from AR-15 rifle? Unfortunately, it's not. There is some commonalities, though, with this rifle system, which I think are really, really cool. I can tell you for a fact that the extractor itself, and that's the part that extracts the round or projectile outside of the breech or the chamber, that is exactly an AR-15. So your AR-15 extractor will work on this particular rifle when it comes down to it. I won't break it down more, but there's a firing pin which is not an AR-15 firing pin. So your AR-15 firing pin would not work in here, but it's simply held in here with a little roll pin or a cotter pin that you guys could probably see here with me pointing my finger. And like I said, the front portion of the rifle itself is non-captive. You see, these things are always a bugger to get out, so it's always good to have a screwdriver or something to help you get that through. Come on. Oh, my wife is going to kill me for this here. Well, you know what? I'm just going to shotgun it versus destroying my table here. Like I said, those captive pins are really good. There is no wobble in between these 2 upper halves. So I'll open it for you guys a little bit. So as you can see, we'll just talk a little bit out here. So this is the trigger, and the big thing about a bullpup, generally speaking, a bullpup is a rifle or some type of our firearm where the mechanics or the action is located rearward of the trigger, which is right here. Once again, I made some modifications to it. This is not the original trigger on it, and which I'm glad because it made a big difference. But as you can see here, this is the trigger, and then there is a trigger bar that goes all the way down here that releases the hammer. We'll just go ahead and show you how to operate real quick. Once again, obviously the weapons I put together so I can't fire anything, but let's see you guys get a good lot of focus, get a good work on that, and just watch the hammer fall back here after I squeeze the trigger. Once the safety's off, of course. There we go, and that's how I operate. So pretty cool. I love it. The safety, speaking of the safety, it is a cross-trigger safety. It's just a piece of plastic here. Never had a problem, and it's really tight too. It does a really, really good job of doing its job as a safety when it comes down to it. If you want to take a look here, the firing control or firing the hammer and the action back there is a little bit it's very similar to the AR-15, but just a little bit different there. If you look at the lower receiver here, there's a lot of cool things that I kind of like, and which is one of the things that I already found appeal to is that it's like AR-15. It has a magazine release on the right-hand side, very similar. You also have a mag release here too on the left-hand side. This one's a little bit funky, but as you can see there, sorry, don't use my middle finger, you guys. I love you guys, but you can see the AR-15. You can see the magazine release there is operating and moving, doing its work, doing its job, releasing that magazine. And then you also have the bolt catch or bolt release, whatever you want to call it, which is right here too as well. Very similar design in the AR-15 when it comes down to it. Now, here's another great thing that I absolutely love about the M17 is that it uses standard AR-15 magazines. This is a standard static magazine that I've had for quite some time. Easy loads up there. Once again, no problem. This is why I say this is a great rifle system. Easy loads up there. This is a Generation 3, and by the way, I absolutely love Magpuls. I use these in Iraq. I love you, Magpul. Once again, I'm not getting plugged. I have no sponsors, so this is just me just saying the truth. They make great products here speaking. This is a Magpul M3 magazine, and as you can see too as well, absolutely no problem with this at all. It's absolutely great. Another great thing about this that you can use almost every single AR-15 magazine out there, can easily translate over to the M17. It's going to be hard to see a little bit, but inside here you can see the, let's see if I can, oh, there you go. You guys can see that. You can see the breech inside there. Very, very similar to the rotating bolt operation of a AR-15 and how it operates. Very, very similar to that in its operation. But guys, it's really hands down a simple weapon. And down here, the bolt itself is, or the barrel itself is just holding with the Allen screw here that goes into the bolt, or sorry, bolt barrel. And it uses the same thread as a standard AR-15, so you can put your favorite suppressor on here. You can put your favorite muzzle device. I have more of a M16A1 style birdcage style flash suppressor. Flash suppressor. And I absolutely love it. It's ringed all around versus like an M16A2 style. Has a little bit on the bottom, prevent from dust from going up. But absolutely love it the way it comes. But I put different types of muzzle devices on there, and your favorite AR-15 muzzle device will work on here. The barrel itself, going back to that, is a chrome line barrel, which is amazing. So that means it's going to have a long life and still be able to provide good reliability and accuracy. Once again, for any type of crazy situation we might be exposed to additional moisture or stuff like that, which we all know was a problem before it happened back in Vietnam for the M16 when it was originally not equipped with a chrome line barrel. Guys, this is just an absolutely amazing rifle. And let's go ahead and use some YouTube magic and put this thing back together. And let's go put some rounds down range with the M17 Starship Troopers gun by Bushmaster. Hey guys, welcome. Well, now that was pretty easy disassembly if I wouldn't even say so. I think even more easier than an AK-47. But because of YouTube magic, I've got to put that together. Now, let's go into details now that you understand a little about the history and also a little bit of exactly why, how it gets breaking down and things like that. Why is this the ultimate rifle for me? And why is this the rifle that I would choose to protect my family, my loved ones, or if there's a zombie apocalypse, this is a weapon I go into? Well, there's a couple reasons. One thing you've got to really think about is that most people in the world in totality live within urban environments. You want to be able to have a weapon system that has the range and capability to go out there and possibly, if they need to, reach out and touch a target if need be. But you also want to be able to have the capability of having a weapon system just like this that has the compactness and the shortness of it. Traditionally, what most militaries and people have done was just really gone to a point where they have went and just shortened down the overall length of the rifle, usually at the sacrifice of the stock. Anybody knows a little bit about the AR-15 platform, or particularly the 5.56 or rifles that shoot 5.56, its effectiveness is really based on its muzzle velocity. And muzzle velocity is measured by feet per second, and that's just how fast they're likely to maintain its current speed once the projectile leaves the barrel or the muzzle. How fast, if it maintains it, it can move in 1 second. So if you have a rifle round, particularly like this, in this package that can go 3,000 feet per second, if it can maintain that velocity, it's going to be able to move in 1 second, 1 Mississippi, 3,000 feet. Now, obviously, just like with anything else, there's physics that come into play, such as gravity, wind resistance, a whole bunch of things that can, of course, affect your velocity, and the bullet starts to slow down when it comes down to it. But the reason why I absolutely love this rifle is because if I was going to go to a place that I had no idea, alien world like I talked about earlier, the desert, this package right here offers you so much. One of the things that it offers you is really a 21.5 inch barrel. I'm going to say this again, guys, a 21.5 inch barrel. And let's see how long the overall length is. Guys, we're looking at roughly 32 inches overall package. And I will say this as well. I've added the customized butt plate or butt stock, if I could talk English today, on the back of it, which has increased it by a little bit. But guys, you're looking at a 32 inch overall package when you're packing a 21.5 inch barrel inside this. And that's just absolutely amazing. It gives you the maneuverability and also gives you the capability to go out there and have the range and also maneuverability in very tight places like in apartments, urban environments. And that's something that's very, very important when it comes down to it. Now, looking at this, you can go and gun broker in other places. These are discontinued, like I said earlier. But one of the cool things about these is that there's a company, I believe it's called K&M Aerosmith, I believe they're based out of Arizona. I haven't met the person, and this is no plug. I'm not getting any money from anybody because I have those sponsors. But a lot of the stuff you see on here is actually from him and his company, and they have done an absolutely amazing job. They offer a more modernized version of the Bushmaster M17, which looks almost exactly like this. There's a couple of things internally that are different. And the lower receiver, this one's made out of really strong hot temp polymer, but the upper receiver, the lower receiver there is, I believe, is made out of some type of aluminum or some type of metal. But this is what you want to need. I mean, if you're talking about a situation where you want to be able to go out there and just have that capability and bring the best piece of equipment to the fight, I'm telling you guys, I really think that this particular rifle setup is great. Now, there is a lot of people who may talk about, I don't know if you guys see that red dot there too, probably not. It's all right. It works. It's a 6R most of the time. And when it comes down to it, you want to be able to have that. And I think going here for me particularly, there's so many different things. Just a couple things that I've done and modified was just these, if you look up here, the upper receiver is a Picatinny rail that came from K&M. I modified that, and the upper receiver is aluminum. I just simply welded that on there. I didn't weld it, my head professional did it. Same thing with the bottom. The trigger itself, man, the trigger has become so crisp. I will say this, that the original Bushmaster M17 trigger isn't the best by no means, but The trigger here is just absolutely amazing with the modifications that were done with it. Launching point in a safe direction. Just a nice crisp reset there when it comes down to the trigger itself. Now, what are some disadvantages about a rifle like this? Well, I wouldn't say there are too many. One thing I will say this, and why I put a forward grip here from Magpul, is that the upper receiver is made out of lightweight aircraft aluminum, kind of like the AR-15. And so what happens is it gets hot after a while. After maybe even 2 magazines, the upper receiver gets hot. And that's a lot of heat transfer that just goes, it's a conduit and goes directly to your hands. Obviously, you can mitigate this by, one, having a capability of just having gloves, but having a forward grip like this in a very solid position for me absolutely works, and I absolutely love it. And you could shoot this for a very, 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 really long time. Another thing is for those other people, the lefties. I'm joking. We love everybody here on FluTac, even if you're left-handed. You know, nobody's perfect. But for the left-handed people, it is going to be an issue probably because it has a, it can only be ejected from the right-hand side. And that is going to be a problem for some people who are left-handed. It won't help too much, but I know that K&M, once again, this guy's getting a plug. If you ever hear it, I love your products. I think your name's Keith. I can't remember. But at K&M, thank you guys, Aerospace. There is a brass deflector that you can mount here that can probably help mitigate some of the issues that you might exactly have with having that. All right, well, that's enough babble from once again. This is a great rifle. I mean, if you're looking for a weapon that's compact but still gives you the maximum effective range of an M16, and once again, the M16 has a 20-inch barrel, generally speaking, and it has a 39-inch package altogether. Those are old school M16s that I trained with when I was in the military, and you got even a longer barrel, more muzzle velocity, more foot-pounds, and even a much more shorter package by roughly about 7 to 8 inches, just about. It's great. I absolutely love it. This is my baby. Oh, absolutely love it. And just to top it off, it looks like a gun from Starship Troopers almost. So enough yakking right now. It's time to grab your eyes. It's time to grab your ears, because it's time to do it FluTac style, and it's time to go loud. Now that was exciting. Once again, the Bushmaster M17. Bushmaster, whoever owns it now, I can't remember. I know they had some problems. But anyway, Bushmaster, if you ever want to bring this type of rifle back with a couple modifications to it, man, I will be a very big supporter of it. I absolutely love my M17. Wouldn't sell it for a world. This is a weapon that protect my family from zombies or the arachnids, for that matter, if that was a problem or issue. Guys, once again, I just want to say thank you. This has been a great journey. I'm learning so much here. I never thought I would even do something like a YouTube channel, but this is my passion, and this is something that I'm really dedicated to. And if you're like me, I'm a person that really likes firearm content, and I said it before, I said it again. This channel is about you. It's about us, letting people know to help reimagine what people could think about firearms. Yes, can these weapons be used in the hands of an evil person, a man, to do destruction to one another? It can. But there's also a lot of people who are still alive because of this, because of a good guy with a firearm. And this is, we don't talk politics here on FluTac, never have and never will, but I do believe that having people who are qualified, who are trained, who understand basics about it, actually makes it safe for everybody. Especially we live in a great country like America that has more firearms in this country than do human beings. With that being said, guys, I still got a lot of great content coming from you. Please just bear with me. Help support, once again, Patreon if you want to, while I try to figure out this whole YouTube life and how going there. But with that being said, guys, I'll catch you on the next side. But in the meantime, do me a couple things for me. Make sure that you shoot straight. Make sure that you shoot safe. And do not be a victim.